Hello everyone, my name is Someri Akhtar and I am speaking from Alamkul Institutions, and we are going to start today the class 12 chapters, starting from the first chapter, which is reproduction in organisms. Okay, so this chapter is basically what we have studied in class 11. What is the reproduction in animal? What is the reproduction process in plants? What are the reproduction processes in bacteria, fungi, and other kind of organisms? Okay, so all together, combinedly, this chapter will include all kind of reproduction, whether it is asexual or sexual, whether it is in plants or in animals or in microorganisms. We will study all together in a combined chapter. Okay, so this is the first chapter, class 12, and let us start. So first of all, what is reproduction? Reproduction means what? The ability to reproduce. Reproduction is what? The ability to produce similar species. Okay, so each and every organism which are living mostly possess the feature of reproduction. There are, of course, certain exemptions, like the humans which are sterile and they are not able to reproduce. Certain kind of honeybees are there which are not able to reproduce. So many exceptions are there, but the basic condition for a living being to be called, it should have reproduction also. It should show the feature of reproduction also. Okay, so at particular age of maturity, each an organism contains the feature of reproduction, means they are having the capability to reproduce. Okay, now let us see the proper definition. What does this say? Every living organism undergoes definite stages in their life cycle, which includes birth, maturation, reproduction, and finally death. Reproduction basically helps to maintain the continuity of species. So it is the second line. Reproduction is what? It is such a phenomena where continuity of species is maintained. Reproduction is what? It is a biological process, as new organisms are formed from the living organism. So it involves the biological activity. Reproduction is a biological process in which organisms give rise to young ones or offerings similar to themselves. Okay, what is the function of reproduction now? It maintains the continuity of life. It creates genetic variation. It maintains the population of young adult and old ones. Okay, so what is the main out of these? What is the main function of reproduction? Out of these, the main function is what? Continuity of life on earth. This one is the foremost and main function of reproduction, because it is due to the reproduction only the similar kind of species have been generated from one generation to another, and then by the help of reproduction only the continuity of life is going on earth. Okay, so reproduction also creates what? Genetic variation, because reproduction involves meiosis, and meiosis involves what? Change of structure in DNA, and exchange, chromosomal exchange is there in meiosis. So due to reproduction also, it causes genetic variation in different kind of organisms, and due to the reproduction and genetic variation, each one of the species are little bit different from the other species, means no species are having the same traits and same kind of ability and same outer appearance from the other species. Okay, so there must be having a certain kind of differences among each and every organism, although they are having the same number of chromosomes. This is called what? Genetic variation, and it is done with the help of reproduction only. Okay, and now the third example, or the third function, maintains population of young adult and old ones. It is also done with the help of reproduction. Reproduction ensures to maintain the population of young species, at the same time the population of adult species and the old ones. The old ones which are dying, at the same time young ones are born. So it is what? A continuous cycles which is going on in the life of earth. Okay, so it is also done with the help of reproduction. Now again, what are the kinds of reproduction? Basic from the class second or third, we are studying that there are two kinds of reproduction, asexual and the sexual one. Okay, so let me write first. Kind of reproduction is what? Reproduction is of two kinds. One is asexual, another is sexual one. Asexual means what? Okay, asexual means what? Means there is no proper fusion of gametes. New offspring will be produced from the parents by asexual method. That is, there is not meiosis. Meiosis is not involved, only mitosis occurs, and the offspring will be formed, will be exact similar to the parents. Okay, there is no fusion of gametes, no formation of zygote, only budding or fragmentation or fission method is there in asexual method. Okay, now sexual method is what? Sexual method involves formation and fusion of gametes, zygote formation, and meiosis will occur, and genetic variation will occur. Due to this, offspring will be having the similar chromosome number, but they will be having certain different kind of traits among themselves. Okay, so these are two kind of reproduction which will we will study in detail. So first, let me cover about asexual reproduction. So asexual and sexual, we have discussed. Asexual is what? The kind of reproduction where new offspring is produced by a single parent is called as asexual reproduction. Means it does not need the involvement of two parents. Only a single parent is able to produce its offspring. Okay, so the process involves only mitosis division and not meiosis division. This line is important because meiosis creates what? Genetic variation, and mitosis does not create genetic variation. That is why asexual reproduction occurs. The offspring are formed, are identical with one another and the exact copies of their parents, and there is no variation in them. Why there is no variation in them? Because the offspring which are formed, it is formed due to the mitotic division, and mitotic division doesn't involve any genetic variation. Okay, now group of morphologically and genetically similar individuals are called what? Clones. And clones are formed due to which? Due to asexual reproduction, clones are formed. Okay, now the kind of reproduction is found in unicellular organisms. This kind of reproduction, where it is found in monerans, it is found in protists, it is found in some lower invertebrates which are like sponges, coelentrates, and some worms. Okay, so asexual reproduction is shown by lower kind of organism, that is from which evolutionary point of view, from which life has begun to start. Okay, so like monerans, protists, and some kind of lower invertebrates and some kind of algae. Okay, so they kind of show asexual reproduction, and this kind of reproduction is basically absent in higher organism, and higher plant and animals doesn't show asexual reproduction. Okay, so this kind of reproduction is absent in higher invertebrates and animals. This is generally a chart which includes animals and plants. In animals, budding, fission, sporulation, and fragmentation is the method of asexual reproduction. And fission will involve binary fission and multiple fission. Budding is also there of two kinds, external budding and internal budding. In plants, vegetative propagation occurs. Vegetative propagation is what? Development of plant from any other part of the plant apart from the gamete formation. So it is done in two ways. One is the natural way, another is the artificial way. Okay, so taking the next slide, asexual method. What is the next slide? Asexual reproduction in animals, how it is done. It is done in four ways. One is fission, another is budding, third is sporulation, and fourth is fragmentation. Okay, fission is very common, and the most famous example of fission is amoeba and paramecium. Okay, they show fission. They show basically binary fission. Okay, there are two kind of fission: binary fission and multiple fission. So fission is what? Basically, fission is what this is like figure of amoeba, and it will grow in size. It will grow bigger in size. It will develop its content, and content will once the content will develop and duplicate, then they will divide into two parts. This is most simple kind of division and most simple kind of formation of offspring. Okay, two daughter cells will be formed from one single parent, and this is also helpful in calling them as immortal lives because they never gets destroyed or they never died. Okay, how they do not die? Because they just divide themselves into two daughter cells, and then after this two daughter cell we form, it will form in two formation, then it will form two daughter cells. So their remains will always be there in their form of their offspring. Offspring will grow, then again they will divide. So amoeba and paramecium who show binary fission, they sometimes are called as immortal lives. Okay, now coming back to the slide, what is fission? The division of parent body into two or more parts identical to the parent is called as fission. It can be binary fission and multiple fission. Fission is what? Fission is basically division of the parent body into two identical parts. Okay, two identical daughter cells, it will called as fission, and it can be binary fission, it can be multiple fission. What is binary fission now? The division of parent cell into two small nearly equal sized daughter cells which grows into adult soon is called as binary fission. Example is amoeba and paramecium. You have to remember these examples because these are important. Okay. Now binary fission result in equal distribution of the parent cell. And multiple fission does not involve equal distribution. Okay, some cells can be smaller, some cells can be larger. So what is multiple fission? The division of parent body into many small daughter cells, each of which grows into an adult after taking some amount of time. Example, Plasmodium amoeba during unfavorable conditions. See, during favorable condition, amoeba always follow this binary fission. But unfavorable condition, it can follow this multiple fission process also. Okay, they develop some kind of cyst around their body, and after the breaking of that cyst, a large number of smaller daughter cells will be produced. So this is called as multiple fission. Okay, I think that's all for today's class, and in next class I will discuss about budding, and I will discuss about sporulation, fragmentation. Okay, so that's all for today's class. Yep. Yeah. See you in the next class.